Good morning and welcome to the broadcast. You're watching Morning Live on the 7th day of June 2023. It is a pleasure to have you from wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to the broadcast. Your feedback is highly welcomed. Tell us where you're watching us from on EBN TV on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Give us your feedback. Our SMS line is 23993. My name is Cynthia Nanjala, and within the next few minutes I'll be taking you through stories that are making headlines and as well as what is happening across the newspapers this morning. But also stick around. We have a fantastic conversation that will be coming up in just a few minutes on mental health. How do you cope up with mental health? What are some of the things that you need to look out for? What are some of the things that you need to do to ensure that you're keeping yourself mentally stable, particularly as you know Kenyans say with this kind of quote-unquote economy? So stick around for that conversation. I'll be talking to one professional psychologist, Elestuta Makena, as well as a mental health advocate, Allan Sirima. So stick around for that conversation. But right about now, let's take a look at stories making headlines. Now, Akahawa Court has given police until September 15th to get the results of the DNA samples taken of 8 police officers from the now disbanded Special Service Unit SSU. 10 officers are expected to be behind the disappearance of 2 Indians and their Kenyan taxi driver. In January, the officers were released on a 500,000 Kenyan shillings personal bond after spending almost a month in police custody pending investigations. Victor Nzobeli reports. Now, of course, that story will be coming to you in just a bit concerning the Special Services Units. About 10 police officers who are under investigation due to what they say extrajudicial violence, particularly during the former President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. And if we are ready, we can have that story now, where Akahawa Court has given police until September 5th to get the results of the DNA samples taken from 8 police officers from the now disbanded Special Services Unit SSU. 10 officers are suspected to be behind the disappearance of 2 Indians and their Kenyan taxi driver. In January, the officers were released on a 500,000 Kenyan shillings personal bond after spending almost a month in police custody pending police investigations. Victor Nzobeli with that report.
When the matter came up for mention before Senior Principal Magistrate Boaz Ombewa on Tuesday, the prosecution told court the investigating officers are at an advanced stage and they are waiting for the results, which are not yet out due to the ongoing Shakahola investigations. Ombewa, in his ruling, allowed the application, citing that no prejudice will be done to the suspects. The case had come up for mention to confirm status of investigations. The suspects, 8 officers and a civilian, are Joseph Mwenda Mbaya, David Chepcheng Kipsoi, Stephen Luceno Matunda, Paul Njugu Muridhi, Simon Muhuga Gikonyo, Peter Mudhiga Shiku, Francis Muendo Ndonye, John Mwangi Kamau, and Joseph Kamau Mbugua. The prosecution told the court that the remaining issue is the DNA results. The court has also urged to take judicial notice of the transition of what is going on at the Director of Public Prosecution's office, as there is a vacancy at the office.
Despite the respondents being out on bond, it is not a mystery that these were officers serving, and they have been interdicted, and they have to cater for travel and accommodation and all these expenses. And therefore, the application I've been making before this court is that any dates that has been taken in open court by consent ought not to be interfered with by bringing the matter forward or pushing it further.
The prosecutors say the decision may be made by the incoming Director of Public Prosecutions. The current Director of Public Prosecutions, Nordin Haji, is assuming another office.
There are things that has come up that were supposed not to come up, especially having brought this matter before the dates when it was supposed to come. We wish to state that it was acting in the best interest of the Republic. We thought that the matter would come earlier before the the date that was given, that is 13th of June, and that was done in good faith, Your Honor.
He added that no prejudice will be suffered to the suspects as they are all out on bond. He prayed for a date on September 5th. However, the defense, through lawyer Martin Swiga, agreed that the Director of Public Prosecutions did inform about the advanced investigations. Swiga said despite the suspects being out on bond, it's not a mystery that they were officers who were serving and have been interdicted. They have no money to keep traveling.
Those concerns are on the record. However, fundamentally, you've also said you are willing to indulge them for one more time.
Yes, no objection.
Good. And so the next question is, are we in agreement of the proposed date? That is the 5th of September. Is that convenient to everyone?
It's convenient to my part.
That is convenient to everyone.
Yes.
So I think my only mandate now is to give that as the next mentioned date. We come and we deal with anything that arises on that date is dealt with on that date. And the mention will be before court number 1.
Family of 2 Indians who disappeared under Kenyan are still looking for their kins. He said giving prosecution more time is something that the court should consider. In January, the officers were released on a 500,000 shillings personal bond after spending almost a month in custody pending investigations. Then Kahawa Chief Magistrate Diana Moshashi had ordered the suspects be escorted for DNA test and they may get a pathologist but at their own expense.
Before court number 1, we may adjourn.
Reporting for EBN TV, my name is Victor Enzobeli.
Switching gears, the government has now said that there is a possibility of changes being made to the tax proposal of affordable housing in the Finance Bill 2023 before it is read for the second time at the National Assembly. Now, Principal Secretary for Housing Charles Hinga has asked the Finance Committee in the National Assembly to use its powers to make changes following the various views expressed by Kenyans.
A tax, because we are forcing even the poorest in this country to make contribution to support people who are staying in these big towns.
If you look at the principle of paying taxes, there is not necessarily a direct relationship between what you pay and what you get. Okay, that is just the principles of taxation. But Chair, we are saying that this housing levy confers you a direct benefit. Okay? So, if you want to argue from a technical perspective, is it a tax? Because it takes a mandatory shape.
That there is need now, before you harvest the money from Kenyans, you harvest the maize. First of all, build the store, build the granary to become smooth, so that when you bring the maize and beans and what, you already have a store.
That we may disagree on the approach, and there are contentious issues in the bill that needs to be cured, and I hope that this committee will cure them. But don't throw the baby with the bathwater just because there is a challenge somewhere. We are asking you, we can correct it, okay, but let's not lose focus of the essence of why we are doing what we are doing. We are doing this because, Chair, and it was, we're doing this because, Chair, we have come to a point of reckoning.
Now, still on the finance bill, police fired several volleys of tear gas and arrested 11 people, bundling them into police trucks to try to disperse the demonstrations that are happening at the Central Business District in Nairobi. A section of the Anti-Finance Bill 2023 protesters were arrested as they were marching within the capital city. They had begun their march at Jivanji Gardens and were headed to Parliament buildings. Now, the controversial Finance Bill of 2023 has taken center stage of debate across social media and mainstream media.
Witnessing some chaos which is not right for us as Kenyans. We need to live like we are in a country. We don't have to have fear that we are going to be chased because we are fighting for our rights. So people are in the streets to demonstrate their anger, their frustrations, to demonstrate everything.
Busia Senator Okia Omtata has condemned President William Ruto's warning to Kenya Kwanza members of parliament on Sunday, promising to sanction those who vote against the Finance Bill 2023. Omtata has accused President William Ruto of attempting to usurp the role of parliament and defeating the will of Kenyans. This comes as community organizers in Nairobi planned to take to the streets this week in peaceful protests against the Finance Bill of 2023.
Kwa sababu hata hii pesa tunachanga 60% inaenda kulipa deni. Na ndio maana mimi nasema hata tukitoka hapa baada ya hii kongamano, mimi naomba watu wa Mathare, watu wa Kenya, serikali imekataa kutuambia ni deni ilifanya kazi gani. Kuna vitu mingi kwa hiyo hoja ambayo ni lazima tuzipinge. Tosha ushuru ni bunge, sio president. Nataka tuelewane hapo. Kwa sababu president anafanya proposal kwa bunge na anawacha bunge inaamua vile uchumi, vile ushuru utatoshwa. Na hiyo bunge ikitosha ushuru lazima ifanye kulingana na katiba. Sasa mmesikia jana President Ruto akisema yeyote atakayepinga ile hoja ya finance bill ataona cha mtamakuni. So akitisha wabunge manake ni yeye ndiye anatosha ushuru, na hiyo ni kinyume cha sheria. I've demonstrated that the constitution has been violated. And anything that violates the constitution should collapse. And that's why I'm very hopeful that this bill will collapse. But of course I leave it to the court to make a determination on merit.
Now, Azimio la Umoja Coalition says none of its principals will be attending the National Prayer Breakfast meeting scheduled for today morning, June 6th, despite receiving an invitation. In a statement on Tuesday, Azimio said the event offers, quote-unquote, anything but the environment for humility before God, honesty to citizens, and respect to the rule of law. Even so, Azimio members of parliament have been given the liberty to choose whether or not to attend the National Prayer Breakfast.
Honorable Speaker, I think it has now become a tradition every year for the National Assembly, indeed the Parliament of Kenya, to host the National Prayer Breakfast. So tomorrow's National Prayer Breakfast is just one of those breakfasts that you've held over the years. It's now become a tradition. Mr. Speaker, it's an occasion when the nation needs to reflect, really, on where it's standing, the gains has made, and perhaps what lies ahead. So it's an occasion which should be, in my view, made to remain solemn as an event for thorough reflection. Mr. Speaker, let me confess that in the past, I personally haven't had the occasion to attend the National Prayer Breakfast. But for tomorrow, I will be attending. Tomorrow's National Prayer Breakfast, I will be attending. And I encourage members from across the political divide to turn up in the large numbers and attend the National Prayer Breakfast, which is scheduled for tomorrow. Of course, I must add the rider that my own leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and the entire leadership of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition will not be in attendance. So they will be engaged in other national business or duties elsewhere. That notwithstanding, the entire Azimio leadership in the House, indeed, plus its membership, will be in attendance. And we hope that this particular National Prayer Breakfast will be of a different kind. Because in the past, we haven't lived to the spirit of the National Prayer Breakfast. Many times we have gone there, made lofty speeches, high-sounding remarks. At the end of the day, we go back to our usual selves. So let's hope that this event of tomorrow will be a different one.
And of course, that is the National Assembly Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi who was issuing that statement, perhaps on behalf of quite a number of Azimio members of Parliament who will be attending. They have been given that liberty to do so. For those who do not want to attend, well, they can as well skip that meeting. So at this point, let's take a look at how the newspapers are looking like this morning. So we kick off with the Standard, where top of the page headline revealed Kemsa wrote blame game The 3.7 billion shillings mosquito nets procurement mess, the first scandal of the Ruto administration, deepens after sacked and suspended government officials speaking for the first time past the buck between each other and the agencies. We have the former Principal Secretary for Public Health, Josephine Mburu, who was sacked, who has blamed or shifted goalposts. We also have Daniel Rono sacked as KEMSA board chair, and we also have Terry Ramadhani, the suspended KEMSA CEO, and Irungu Nyakera, the new KEMSA board chair, all of them at the center of it. Now, Josephine Mburu says, I was not involved. The procurement process had started, and I was told the new government of Kenya Kwanza had to continue with it. I believe the staff advised properly. Now, Daniel Rono, the sacked KEMSA board chair, says, I was technically green. I got the tendering ongoing when I got into office as the new chair of KEMSA board, and the KEMSA board was not in control of the tender, and we never sat to deliberate on it. Terry Ramadhani, the suspended KEMSA CEO, says, we met the Global Fund over cancellation, but we did not understand the issues raised. We followed the fund's procedure, and I do not know why it was cancelled. Reasons given do not hold water. So, blame game between KEMSA officials, former and current, on just what went wrong for the country to lose that 3.7 billion shillings next procurement scandal. But also top of the page, National Police Wars. The National Police Service disowns IG Kome's promotions, and it has declared null and void all those officers who were promoted under the Inspector General of Police, Faith Kome. And then top of the page as well, Ruto's spy master and moneyman picks approved. That is Nurdin Haji, the DPP, who will be appointed to that position and subsequently relinquish his position as the Director of Public Prosecution. So that is how the Standard looks like this morning. To the Daily Nation, schools face closure over funds delay. Fear and anxiety have gripped principals over rising food prices, with some saying they may be forced to close schools. Head teachers are now warning they will not be able to keep students in school unless the government intervenes urgently. They are saying, the prices of goods rising and services rising subsequently each day has led to cash crisis in schools, and we have seen the Ministry of Education officials quite adamant that no students should be sent home for school fees. So schools are facing a financial crisis over funds delay from the government, as well as the rise cost of goods and services. On top of the page as well, net scandals. Ex-KEMSA boss say they are scapegoats, and they say the real people to be blamed are the CS for Health, that is Susan Wafula Nahumicha. So perhaps something similar as well to what has happened to the top of the Star. As well as you can see the First Lady right there on a bicycle, and the First Lady Rachel Ruto cycles from State House, Nairobi to Gigiri for the United Nations Habitat Assembly yesterday. So First Lady cycles to conference. We'll be telling you about why. And top of the page as well, Shakahola land to be turned into monument, says Kindiki. Finance bill, members of parliament on horns of dilemma, whether loyalty plays a part in it or not. That is the dilemma that they are currently facing, as well as Kome police promotions illegal, the National Police Service Council declares. Now to the Star, top of the page, something similar as well. First Lady Rachel Ruto on a bicycle, and she takes part in a cycle ride from State House to the UN Habitat Assembly in Gigiri for the launch of the Global Alliance for Cities for Road Safety. Ruto makes U-turn on sale of state corporations. Parliament will now have the last say on the sale of parastatals in the new bill by President William Ruto's team. As well as top of the page, city dwellers reject finance bill. You can see protesters or demonstrations that were happening yesterday in the capital city of Nairobi. There's a banner that reads, the poor cannot sleep because they are hungry, and the rich cannot sleep because the poor are awake and hungry. Hashtag no to overtaxation, hashtag lower cost of living. Now, this was the events of yesterday within the CBD. Quite a number of people were arrested. About 18 people were arrested and are in police custody. Some were released yesterday, others to be released today as they continue their riot against the taxation, or what we call the Finance Bill 2023, that proposes a raft of tax measures. As well as top of the page, EPRA boss, Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority boss, Kipto's job hangs in the balance as MPs query appointment. As well as sacked KEMSA chiefs blame Health CS Susan Wafula Nahumicha and Principal Secretary Tum. So that is how the papers are looking like this morning. All, of course, something quite similar on what is happening at KEMSA. There's a cleanup that is continuing. KEMSA board that was sacked, and there's a new chairman in place. His name is Irungu Nyakera, who has been tasked with spearheading reforms and change of policies at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority. Remember, 3.7 billion shillings net procurement in question. Who bungled this procurement that was said to be given to Kenya by the Global Fund? Not the first. They've been doing it with the Ministry of Health. They've had, various procurement, including those of tuberculosis, drugs, as well as the malaria drugs. Also talk about the HIV drugs. So this is not the first time that Kenya is working hand in hand with the Global Fund, and as the CS for Health, Susan Nahumicha, says, it is definitely not the last. So blame game. What went wrong? Who was in charge at that time when everything was going wrong, as all those involved are shifting their blame games to one another. So that is how the papers are looking like this morning. At that point, allow us to take a quick breather, but don't go anywhere just yet. When we come back, we'll be having a conversation on coping with mental health, particularly with what is happening across the country with the economy. Does it, substitute enough the environment that we live in to ensure that we remain mentally well, socially well, and physically well? So that is the conversation coming up. I'll be joined by a professional psychologist as well as a trainer, Elestuta Makena, and a mental health advocate for the youth, Allan Sirima. Stick around for that conversation coming right up after the break.
Watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
From the oldies to the latest song, on the Request Hour show, we play you the songs that you request. Whether ni reggae, rising up to take their place. Whether ni hip hop, for God is no estimate. Whether ni worship. Any song, any genre that you want to listen to, we play it here on the Request Hour show. Join me, Alice Jerry, on this Wednesday and every Wednesday and Friday, only on EBN TV from 5 to 6 p.m.
Praise the Lord. This is Pastor Joseph Musajawaza from Unfading Love Ministries. I'm inviting you to join me live on EBN every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. as we get to learn the Word of God on this program known as Victory Through the Word of God. Our church is located in Umoja Inako, just near Oloibon Hotel, next to Delight Junior School, and you can visit us on our website www.unfadingloveministries.org. I know God will speak to you and change your life and add value to you through the Word of God. The Bible says that God has exalted His Word above all His name. As we go through the Word, victory shall be yours to the glory of God in Jesus' name. God bless you.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe, watazamaji wa EBN. Kwa majina naitwa Pastor Julius Mutuko, na nataka kukaribisha kwa kipindi ambacho tutakuwa tukisikiliza neno la Mungu kila siku ya Ijumaa na Jumamosi, kuanzia saa 3:30 jioni hadi saa 4:30 kila siku kwa lisali moja. Na hivyo tukiangazia true worship ama kuabudu halisi, ambapo tukiangalia Biblia kitabu cha Yohana 4:23-24, Yesu alipokuwa akiongea na mwanamke Msamaria, alimwambia wakati unakuja ambapo watu watamwabudu Baba katika roho na kweli. Kwa maana Baba ni roho, ama Mungu ni roho, na yuwatafuta watu kama hao ili wakamwabudu. So Joe nami tukaweze kujua kuabudu halisi ni nini kwa siku hizo. Karibuni nyote in Jesus name. Asanteni.
Are you a church, a pastor, an apostle, an evangelist or a teacher of the gospel? Broadcast your sermons with us today. Contact EBN TV sales team on 0740 653 453 or 0713 492 865 or 0721 936 847. Book with us now and enjoy great discounts. Welcome to the EBN TV family.
We tackle these issues here at the Kingdom Ministers Reality Hour on EBN TV every Saturday from 7:30 in the evening up to 8:30 in the evening. And the Lord will bless you. Shalom.
With great love and joy, I especially welcome you to worship with us at Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu. This is a true family church, a true spiritual home. Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu is home to exuberant prayers, deep and true worship. A house of prayer that will leave you feeling refreshed. Our first service starts at 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. and our second service starts at 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. On Wednesdays, we have our midweek service from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and every Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. we have our night of glory. This is the church you have been looking for. This is the place for your spiritual growth and maturity. See you this Sunday and karibu sana.
Your faith today is back. It is spiritually deep, full of revelation and fervent in prayer. Reverend Felix Kavoy has accepted to be used by God to touch the heart of men and women. Don't miss from this Tuesday, 7th of February 2023. See you there.
Are you a church, institution, or an individual looking to make your events, services, or commemorations memorable by capturing it on video or streaming on various platforms? EBN TV offers video production, streaming, documentary production, and scripting services. Get in touch with our sales team on 0740 653 453 or 0713 492 865 or 0721 936 847. This is EBN TV, transforming your world. This is EBN TV, transforming your world.
A morning news experience that is prepared to prepare you from the day and what to expect. From the four corners of the Republic of Kenya and across the 47 counties, EBN TV brings you morning live and in-depth coverage of the day's top stories and overnight development. We go beyond the hashtag and the headline to make it make sense to you. The newspaper review, social media check, and discussion to bring you up the minute you are up. Morning live from Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. only on EBN TV.
This is EBN TV, transforming your world.
From Nairobi, Kenya, this is EBN TV.
This is EBN TV, transforming your world. This is EBN TV, transforming your world.
Praise the Lord. This is Pastor Joseph Musajawaza from Unfading Love Ministries. I'm inviting you to join me live on EBN every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. as we get to learn the Word of God on this program known as Victory Through the Word of God. Our church is located in Umoja Inako, just near Oloibon Hotel, next to Delight Junior School, and you can visit us on our website www.unfadingloveministries.org. I know God will speak to you and change your life and add value to you through the Word of God. The Bible says that God has exalted His Word above all His name. As we go through the Word, victory shall be yours to the glory of God in Jesus' name. God bless you.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe, watazamaji wa EBN. Kwa majina naitwa Pastor Julius Mutuko, na nataka kukaribisha kwa kipindi ambacho tutakuwa tukisikiliza neno la Mungu kila siku ya Ijumaa na Jumamosi kuanzia saa 3:30 jioni hadi saa 4:30 kila siku kwa lisali moja, na hivyo tukiangazia true worship ama kuabudu halisi, ambapo tukiangalia Biblia kitabu cha Yohana 4:23-24, Yesu alipokuwa akiongea na mwanamke Msamaria alimwambia wakati unakuja ambapo watu watamwabudu Baba katika roho na kweli, kwa maana Baba ni roho ama Mungu ni roho, na yuwatafuta watu kama hao ili wakamwabudu. So Joe nami tukaweze kujua kuabudu halisi ni nini kwa siku hizo. Karibuni nyote in Jesus name. Asanteni.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Morning Live. It is about 35 minutes past the hour mark. We want to now get into that conversation this morning of coping with mental health. And mental health is a conversation that we have been having as a nation. Perhaps you've had it with your friends, with your family over and over again, but it never ends, and it shouldn't. And the month of May, we were marking the Mental Health Awareness Month. What did you do to ensure that you've spread enough awareness to your friends, to your family on mental health, and as well as supporting those who are undergoing mental health? So that is the conversation that we are having this morning. Your feedback is highly welcomed. Talk to us on our Facebook page on EBN TV, as well as on YouTube, where we are currently live. Give us your thoughts, your views, questions perhaps that you shall be having, as well as our SMS line 23993 is open. Now I'd love to introduce my panel this morning very quick. On my immediate right, I'm joined by a professional psychologist as well as a trainer, that is Elestuta Makena. Thank you so much for coming this morning. And on my farthest right, I'm joined by Allan Sirima, who is a mental health advocate as well as a youth, and he will be giving us that perspective from a youthful position on just, you know, what we need to do as a society. So thank you so much for making time this morning. So let's just get straight into it, and I'd love to begin with you, Elestuta, from a professional point of view. This is what you do. You have an organization that works to ensure that we have a proper mental health awareness, a program in the country. So what is mental health? Because majority of times you find people saying it's just the stress part of it. When you're having stress from work or stress from your family, that is mental health, but it's just much more than that. So what is mental health?
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for the opportunity to be here. As you've heard, my name is Elestuta Makena Kambudho. I am a counselor, a teacher, and a trainer at the same time. Among the many things that I do, we have two areas that we look at. We have the mental health and the mental illness. So the mental health is the ability to cope with life and ability to go through issues in life without ending up in an awkward situation. I call it awkward because sometimes people think that when you are mentally well is when you are not going through issues. No, it's ability to cope with issues, to cope with situations, and I always say coming out of a situation successfully. So mental illness, it's the issues that affect us, like disorders, disorders, for example. When we talk of mental illness, is like the mood swings, the depressions, those all are related with mental disorders. So when we talk of wellness, it's the ability to manage life and come out successfully. But when we talk of illness or disorders, those are things that affect us mentally.
Yeah, so we have now the mental health and the mental illness. So what we need to be working on is the mental illness part.
Mental health.
Mental health.
Yes, because we talk of health instead of sickness. So for us, we are supposed to promote health. Health, those are things that are related with us living just a normal life, coping with the life and situation, especially this time. Mental health is very important.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Allan, I'll come to you. You know, you're a youth, you're a mental health advocate, and you have been, you know, up and about trying to advocate for people to try and do things that promote their mental state. How has it been like? Because I can imagine it's not easy. You know, you're dealing with an emotional point of view of someone, which can sometimes also translate to the physical part of it. So how has it been? How difficult is it rather to advocate for this kind of well-being?
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for this opportunity. As you've heard from her, my name is Allan. I'm a mental health advocate. I work with an organization called the Youth Advisory Council, and we advocate for many things, not just mental health. And these issues are correlated with mental health. Issues like sexual reproductive health and rights, HIV and AIDS, sexual gender-based violence. It has been answering your question is that working at the community level has been a bit difficult for me because creating awareness, people don't have a knowledge on mental health. And we were just trying to create awareness on people so that they can understand what is mental health and what are some of the, because they don't know even the causes, the coping mechanism to mental health and all that. It has not been easy. The referral system has not been also easy. People still don't have that enough knowledge on mental health, and I think that's the point whereby the government needs to come in to teach people. Let mental health be taught in school so that people may understand what is mental health, what are some of the causes and its effects, and how we can actually solve it.
Yeah, and you know, he has talked about the government and the systems. You know, these systems really are supposed to be, you know, so close to the people in the communities. Just as much as we want to devolve, you know, the health, we should also perhaps have discussions on devolving systems of institutions that have been put up in place to work on mental health. What sort of role do systems play in just promoting mental health awareness, like your institution, for instance?
Okay, thank you. Now, mental health awareness is just something that is coming up. Before it was stigmatized. People would stigmatize people with mental issues. But now we've come to realize that this is a condition, this is a disease like any other. And the country is trying to come up with mechanism of coping with this issue. And so there's a lot of training of counselors in schools. There's a lot of awareness in schools. And so far the CBC curriculum has in their social learning, in their humanity, you realize that there are topics that are dealing with mental health. So the government is really coming up. It's only that it has to start from the background, from down going up. And that is why it has gone to school through the CBC. And for us now, we are going around in schools talking about mental health, creating awareness wherever we go, in organization, in groups, within friends. So we have to tell people that we are here doing it. But even the government is doing it. For example, the whole of last month has been mental health awareness, and this month is still going on the same. So you see, we are creating awareness, and the government is doing it. It's only that it is not yet that grown, but it's growing. We are evolving as a country.
Is there that enough support from the government?
Not really, but through the hospital, through the government hospital, they've set up First, they've set up centers that you can go and see psychiatrists and meet counselors there. When you go to like where he's doing the LVCT, so they have counselors, a lot of them, and you see, though it's an NGO, it's still working together with the government. So we are collaborating with the government to create awareness, and the government is really supporting the much it can. Yes.
Now, Allan, having worked with a community-based organization that works on various projects, not just mental health awareness, that also other projects that you are working on. Of course, you've had the opportunity to be to integrate yourself with a lot of youth who might be going through this, but they just don't know it is a problem for them. They just think it's just stress here and there. What are some of these causes of mental illness, or what are some of these symptoms that you've been able to pick out and you've identified? Now, this is somebody going through a problem but doesn't know it yet. What are some of these symptoms or these signs? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for that question. And many youths today undergo very many challenges that lead to mental health illness. So one of the challenges is youth unemployment. Together with pressure to perform better in schools. And we also have sexual gender-based violence. That's one of the effects. And we also have HIV and AIDS as one of the causes of youth depression and anxiety among the youth. We have so many challenges, and most of them you can find a youth isolating him or herself. That is irritability. Vijana wamekuwa na shida mingi sana mtaani. Unapata wengine wanatumia drugs, you see. So unapata anataka kujitenga na watu, anatumia drugs. So imekuwa changamoto sana kwa vijana mtaani, and I think something has to be done surely.
And Elestuta, perhaps from a professional point of view, what are some of these signs that we should be looking out for? Maybe it could be physically, something that is happening to them, or mentally, something that we can see it is wrong with them. What are the things we are supposed to be looking out for? Because I have an instance, I'll just give an abbreviated version of it, of a parent who is worried about their child, because she says, when my child sees things, he gets excited, or hears a particular news, gets very excited, that leads him to do some rash decisions. And the parent can't really diagnose whether this is mental health or it's just normal feelings. So what are some of these signs that we should be looking out for, whether it's something that is physically happening to them, we can see it, or something that we can pinpoint from the emotions?
There are quite a number of them. And I will just mention a few. Withdrawal is one of them. Someone has just been jolly, happy, jumping up and down, but suddenly somebody just goes down. They withdraw from the things that they liked. For example, maybe this is a teen or a youth. He or she enjoyed having good time with other youths, and suddenly they withdraw from them. Maybe he or she doesn't want to go to church. Maybe she doesn't want to see the things that she used to. If it's a child, the way they enjoyed cartoons, they no longer want to enjoy. So withdrawal is one of them. Sadness. Suddenly, when you tell somebody something and you all go sad at the same time. Anger. You see? And then you're talking of anxiety. Just getting excited over something, suddenly somebody goes down. The anxiety, it's part of them. And then lack of sleep. Somebody goes to bed at 2, and by 3 or 4 they are awake.
When you say that, it might just be, maybe someone slept during the day, cannot sleep at night.
Yes.
Is there something that is that can be, pinpointed and say this is the difference between lack of sleep that is mental?
Yes, there's something. For example, somebody has been working throughout the day, and when they go to the house, they are busy doing things up to 1, and they go to bed by 2, and by 4 they are awake. And when you ask them, is that they couldn't find sleep. So that is something also to worry about. Then poor appetite, or too much eating.
Really?
Yes.
It's not just like big appetite.
No, it's not. It's not big appetite because we are all supposed to be able to control our feeding. There are times you eat and you feel you've eaten enough. So too much of it or less interested in meals.
Yeah.
And then inability to do things that you used to like. For example, you liked jogging, you liked exercising, you liked reading. You dislike some things. You have a lot of disliking. And then easily irritable. If I tell you something, you jump out, start crying for nothing. So those are quite a number of things that you look at alike. And then also failure to take care of self. We talk of hygiene. You don't want to bathe. Don't want to groom. You just want to keep that way. Sometimes I don't know whether you've seen that the youth and the teenagers mostly, you realize that some suddenly they've started wearing hoods. Wanajifunika everywhere. Wanavaa tuvitu. Wanafunika macho na shades. Wanavaa the hood wanajifunika, and then they are always bent and they don't want eye contact. So that is also something to worry about. If they are not involved in anything else, it's something to worry about. So all these small changes that we may think they are small, they really tell a lot about mental health of a person, because this says that the person has withdrawn from the normal routines and they are so much into themselves. Why are they into themselves? What is happening to them? Why are they withdrawing from others? Why are they not into the world? Because we are in the world. We belong to the world for now before we go to heaven. So why are you not with us? That's something to worry about. And there are many things. Generally, a normal person would like to do 1, 2, 3 things. He's ambitious of something, and you notice that ambition is gone. So that is something to worry about. Yes.
And Allan, being a youth, of course, advocating for this, you've definitely come across people who are going through this. And if you listen to these symptoms, it really, makes you now have a clear vision of just this particular person. I'm sure somebody has come into your mind, somebody whose hygiene has changed, is withdrawing, is having anxiety, too much appetite, not sleeping enough. What are some of the conversations that you have? You sit down with this person, you want to help them. Where do you start? So that they don't feel you're getting too much into my life. You're crossing boundaries you're not supposed to cross. How do you start these conversations? Because it's not that easy. It is difficult because somebody will feel unashughulika sana na maisha yangu. So how do you start these sort of conversations with these people?
That was a big question. So as I said earlier, I'm a youth champion. So what I can do to that youth actually is to provide an ear, to be an elephant. Because I'm not a psychiatrist, I cannot diagnose. So what I'll just do, I'll just listen to that friend of mine, and then after listening, I refer her to a doctor or to a nearby hospital. So utapata what ukiona beshte yako pale nje anapitia stress, that is depression ama anxiety. Mimi kama advocate pale mtani nilikuwa tu unamsikiza. I provide an eye to ears, kusikiza huyu youth anasema nini, usikumkosoa and asifile kwamba ati unaingilia maisha yake ama nini. And then after that, because we have niko na referral numbers, I will call the doctors ama alafu nimrefer huko, because sasa enda tamdiagnose, atamuuliza all sort of questions. Yes.
So what are some of the programs that maybe uko nayo ile this is a schedule, on Monday I'm supposed to meet this particular group and listen to them? Is there a particular guideline that your group ama ile organization uko nayo mimi nikiku approach, I just know I'm going to talk to a particular person on a particular day?
Nice. So as a youth advisory council member, so we work very closely with the Nairobi City County. So you get unapata mtu kama mimi, I represent Embakasi East Sub County. So we have public facilities pale, and we normally offer mental health services from Monday to to Friday. You see, and where I volunteer at LVCT, we usually have a number, and I hope hata mnaweza showcase pale kwa screen baadaye 1190. So whenever a person anapitia stress anytime anaweza call hiyo number, ikuwe ni usiku, ikuwe ni mchana, and then ata get help. So when I get a youth ambaye anapitia problem pale nje, so me what I do as a mental health advocate, I usually give him or her that number and I call for further medications.
And Elestuta, he's mentioned something important. He cannot diagnose someone. What he does is just listen. And maybe that is one of the biggest setbacks in tackling mental health, because someone will come to me and say, I'm not sleeping well, and then I say, you definitely have a problem with your mental issue. So what are some of the steps that we need to put up in place to ensure that let's not just diagnose people when we are not the professional or the experts?
Now, I would like also to tell people that not everyone has mental illness. The fact that you're not sleeping, sometimes it can be just maybe change of patterns. Though not able to sleep, it can be a sign of mental issue if you are going through issues. But sometimes it can be also a change in patterns. Maybe you are working in this place, now you're in a new place. There's a lot going on in your mind, and so it can also be a change of patterns in many things. For example, pregnant women, there comes a time as months progresses, there are times that they are not able to sleep because they are pregnant, the baby has grown, so sometimes they are not able to sleep very well. Now, for us as counselors, the first thing we do is listen, as he has said. We always say that the clients, they know what they want. If you sit down with a mentally disturbed person, he or she will tell you what they want. It's only that they are not able to balance. It's only that they are not able to deal with it themselves. So they come to counselors so that they can be able they can be helped to align. They already know what they want. So the first thing you do is to listen without judging them. Because if you keep on judging them, then they fear. Some things maybe, according to us in society, we may think that it's shameful to talk about it. But when you listen to them, you'll be able to understand their point of view and where they are coming from and what is this that they want. Sometimes, for example, dreams. You may have a dream that if you tell people, it looks like it can never be realized. But it's something that can be done, if only that it is broken in small pieces. So the first thing you do is to listen to them without interruptions. And so when you listen, you just ask a few questions. And what do you want? And you keep on following them without judging them and without interrupting their talking. Because they have a lot of things to say. That is why they go down to themselves. They wonder who to share with. So the first thing is to listen. Okay. 2, if you cannot help them, there are different people who can help these people. I've always said that this country, I've been trained as a teacher. So this country has very many teachers. And every teacher has done a unit in guidance and counseling. Even if you don't have a counselor around, there are teachers around. You can walk to a teacher and tell the teacher that, please, I have this going on, help me. Instead of doing some things that people do. You can also visit people that, for example, even in church, we have people who are really helped by God to help people. So sometimes people fear going to counselors and they keep their things, whereas the world has a lot of people to help you. So never keep it to yourself. Talk to someone about it. But it is talking to someone that you can trust. Yes.
And Allan, you've said you do a lot of listening. To provide that listening ear to those who come to the council or to you for help. And then, as Elestuta said, the next step is referral. If I cannot, or if you cannot help them, you refer them to somebody else. So how much do these people actually go to these professional service providers? Because they might have a change of mind and say, no, I talked to Allan, I think I'm okay with that, I don't need to see a professional. So can you just give us perhaps the rates or the statistics maybe of people who actually go to these professional service providers, counselors, you know, psychologists, do they get to that point, or maybe wanachia katikati?
Yeah, as Daktari said, a psychologist said, yeah, you know, mental health is a new thing, and many people bado hawajapata knowledge ya mental health. Yeah, so unapata saizi ndio tunajaribu ku create awareness on people so that they know mental health is real. By the way, just as physical health, we also have mental health. So actually, I don't have a statistic,
yeah.
But during the awareness, because we also do outreaches, community outreaches, a time we also have mental health days and international days. Many people turn up to these services. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the last month we also had a mental health awareness team, and they came to our public facility, and I was talking to many youth, and they were eager to seek service. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and 1 out of 4 people, one is likely to suffer from mental health. Mm-hmm. Yes, so yeah.
Yeah, have you come across those who have overcome the mental illness? They've come out and shared their stories of just, you know, where they've been and where they're going, how far they've come from.
Yeah, I've had cases of of youth, my friends coming to tell me that actually ulinisaidia, nilikuwa napitia hii stress. I started using drugs, but actually from now nimereform na nimekuja nikakuwa poa.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had successful stories, and I felt really happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know, Makena, mental health can change from time to time. Yeah, you can be okay now, tomorrow you're not. The other day you're back to okay. So, what are some of these habits? You know, yes, you've talked about too much appetite and you know, lack of sleep, but before you get to this point, there must be something that shows you're not okay. You know, before you get to losing sleep, before you get to that anxiety, there's something that shows you know, you're not okay, but you might decide to ignore it. So what do you need to do so that we do not change from good to bad, you know, in terms of mental health? Yeah.
There are quite a number of things that we need to do, but again, every day we are facing issues.
Yeah.
Life is never straight. So today you're battling this, tomorrow you're battling another. So sometimes we are able to overcome, other times we are not able to overcome. And what happens is that the moment we go through something and we don't solve it, it becomes like, it's like a bank. You've already kept something that is not good for you, and so another thing happens again, it goes and retrieve the other. So you see, you have a chain of things that you didn't solve. Actually, when you look at mental health, it's mostly disturbances of life.
Yeah.
And so when you are disturbed in life, you have to solve an issue. So what is this that happened last time and you didn't sort it out? For example, there are people who go through mourning.
Yeah.
They mourn a loved one. And during mourning, they don't cry. They are just firm. They are trying to be strong. And if they want to cry, they hold it, and that is gone. And then another time, they lose a friend. Because you see, this is life. People are born and people die.
Yeah.
So the next time, they lose a friend. And you notice that they are crying more than they cried for the first one. Sometimes they are not even crying because of this one. It is the first one that they didn't mourn. And so the mourning continues. And 5 years later, you realize that these people are very down. When you ask them what happened, they will tell you it's a friend who did this thing to me.
Yeah.
But it's not really friend. It is the load they carry of the process of life that they went through and they didn't solve. What am I saying is that every time that you're going through something, know that you're a human being. At the end of the day, you are a human being. And a human being is weak. Always find someone to share with. When others are going through mourning, even if you don't want to mourn as, for example, men, even if you don't want to mourn as others are mourning through crying, but find a way of feeling, of going through this. Write a journal. You know, just take a moment and think of what has happened. What is this that is happening at the moment, so that you can be able to overcome the situation. Otherwise, if you won't overcome, then all this is going to pile up and it will explode one day.
Yeah.
So these are way you need to go through life, a normal life. There's nothing like navumilia. And that is why he's talking about abuse. And I always say that the young people that are going through abuse they've already seen it, but they always believe that it can't be done. Everything that tampers with your normal well-being should be addressed.
Yeah.
Yes, even if you address within the family level, but you must address it.
Yeah. What about that person that is not comfortable with sharing? You know, what can this person do? Does not want to share with family, does not want to share with friends, does not want to share, or is not comfortable sharing with a professional. What can this person do?
They can journal.
Okay.
Yes, you every day you wake up, you write the innermost pain that you're feeling, and then you read it again, and you read it again, and you see every time you're writing, you're releasing it to somebody. Maybe you can journal, like you're writing something and say, "Dear Makena," for example, you're writing to me, but I'll not see it. That is journal. And so you write all what you're going through, what you're feeling, you keep it. If you want to go through it again, you go through it again. Then you burn it. You've already shared, you've already released. For those who don't want to share. But I always say it is important to speak to someone because there's a communication going on. There's a response. So, and sometimes we go through issues because no one is responding to motivate us. So it is important to talk. But if you're not able to talk, you can journal. Yes.
And Allan, you know, environment plays a critical role in just our mental well-being. You might be in an environment, you know, where you're seeing, not whether directly or indirectly, sexual abuse. You're in an environment where people, you know, are smoking bang. You're in an environment where there's just conflict on a day-to-day basis. So I know you've worked with a lot of, you know, youths, particularly from the slum areas. I mean, what goes into your mind, you know, when you're listening to these people and you really want to tell them, you know, you need to change your environment, but they can't, maybe because of financial constraints. So how much does environment play a factor in just the mental well-being of an individual?
Kwanza kabisa nataka niseme kuna ile lifestyle ya mtu anaishi Karen ni different na venye ule kijana anaishi Mkuru kwa Njenga ama Mathare anakaa. So environment, by the way, play a very pivotal role on one's mental health. For example, huku youth ako Mkuru kwa Njenga, yeye amezoea hard life. You see, akikosa atapigana ngeta, unaona? Yeye atamka asubuhi aende pale kwa stage afanye kazi ya makanga. You see, akikosa shikwe na stress, bado ako very vulnerable to get drugs. You see? Rather than huyu mtu ako Karen, huyu ni mtu mwenye anapitia good life, huyu ni mtu mwenye anaenda a good school, huyu ni mtu mwenye akona caring parents. You see, akona provision, everything ako provided for. Rather than huyu youth mwenye ako huku kwa slum, huyu ni mtu mwenye anapigana na ana strive for the fittest to survive. You see, so unapata the youth sana kwa slum kumekuwa na a lot of challenges na a lot of difficulties zenye wanapitia, and imechangia kuwa mental illness yao. So mimi naweza sema the environment really contributes to a person's mental health.
Na wakati ulikuwa unaongea nao wase, ushaipatana na maybe wenye sima youth, unapata mtu ni teenager, ushaipatana na group kama hiyo wenye tu yani ni watoto bado wako largely under the care and protection of their parents,
and they can't?
Have you come across sana adolescents as well apart from the youth? Maybe mtu amemaliza shule, ushaipatana na youth wale ni vijana na unapata mwingine ni mtoto, adolescents, teenager, ushaipatana na those kind of people?
Yes. Wote nimepatana na wao. Na imekuwa sana the adolescents. Unajua adolescents kwanza wanapitia stress because each time sasa the adults sasa in time yao kutafuta employment, in time yao wako na pressure from parents, watoke waende wakujitafutia pesa walipe nyumba, wengine hata wanajilipia school fees. Yeah, na venye nilisema earlier ya kwamba 40% of the youth mental ill inatoka kwa unemployment, youth unemployment. Yeah, sana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Makena, from a professional point of view, children are part of the statistics as well, aren't they? So how do you handle a child, you know, because this is somebody, perhaps a teenager, still under much care of their guardians. They are in school, from school to home, they have got homework to do. I mean, how do you handle a child who comes to you and says, you know, Makena, I'm having a problem? It must be different from how you handle an adult.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when young children are presented for counseling,
yeah,
there are quite a number of things you do. They may not talk like adults do,
yeah,
but they will express themselves through arts. What do they draw? What do they paint?
Yeah.
If you tell them draw your dad, and you give them colors, which colors do they use?
Okay.
How do they paint the mouth? You realize that if the father is the main cause of stress, he or she will take black and paint the mouth.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yes.
Then the eye. How do they paint the eye? How do they draw the eye? Some will draw the eye very big. Some will not even draw the eye, because meaning they don't even want to see their father. Then the body. How is the image of the body? Some will draw the father doing like this. Others will draw the father holding a stick. They will express a lot through the picture.
Yeah.
So that should tell you the relationship between the child and the father. How about the mother? If you tell them draw the family, how do they and then you ask them, what did you draw? They'll tell you, this is my dad. What is the dad doing? Atakuonyesha. The dad is holding a kiboko. You realize that? This a father that beats the children.
Yeah.
And so you're able to get a lot of things because children are able to express themselves through arts. And now through this, you'll be able to talk to the child and then you'll be able to meet the parent and talk to them.
Yeah.
So arts really talks about these children. Even the teenagers. Remember, these are young children still. They are between the children, the stage of the child and the adults.
Yeah.
They are in between there. They are not yet adults. They are out of being a child. But still, they go through what children go through. And they will express themselves the same. Give them something to draw. Give them a painting. Ask, when they are painting, you will be able to see the way they are holding the brush. Are they interested? If you tell them, draw your family, they may draw everyone and fail to draw their father. And you ask them, where is dad?
Yeah.
You say, hako tu. Lakini unaona he's not part
On
of
the picture.
On the picture.
Yeah.
So they are able to express themselves through drawing. And through this now you start the conversation. They'll be able to tell you a lot, but you must assure them that whatever you're talking, you're not going to tell people. You're not going to tell their parents that way. You only tell the parents to improve. What children need is an assurance that whatever you talk, whatever you talk together, you're going to keep it. Because children, what they love so much is the ability to keep their secrets.
Yeah.
Adults, the moment they start releasing their pain, they don't care who hears or who gets it. For example, if today I sit here and say I went through something, I'm releasing because it is too much for me. But children, they want to keep it. That is why we have adults battling childhood traumas.
Oh, yeah.
Because they kept it, it was a secret, it was sealed, and they never talked about it. So the things that we do to children is that we assure them that whatever they talk, it is sealed within us, so that they can be able to offload what they've been going through.
Yeah.
And never say that children don't go through stress. They go through stress. Especially this time that we have CBC. There's a lot of work. It is new for teachers. It is new for learners. And so everyone is battling issues. Don't forget the homework that is there. Don't forget the pressure from families. So there's a lot also going through the children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just stick on the colors a bit. It's very interesting. You said black and white, you know, just perhaps give us, you know, the colors. What are some of the colors we need to look out for within the children? Not that we'll say now that is the problem, but you know, as a professional, you've come across children. What are some of these colors that, you know, can symbolize this is a child that is going through a problem?
Yes. So one is black.
Yeah.
Children don't like black colors. Not unless they are painting the tire. we're talking about the vehicles.
Tire guy.
Not unless they are painting the tire.
Yeah.
There's nowhere they will paint black. So when a child is painting black, and I'm not saying it's a must, but it's a sign. So when they are painting something black, and especially people, because they'll never paint them black.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you ask is that, I thought you would have painted, because they have a color that is between orange, it is beige, that is between orange and yellow. So that is mostly the color that they use. So when they are using this other, the black color, it is important to ask them, why I thought you could use this one. Then look at the answer they give. Do they say no, or they say no? When the tone, the projection of that one should tell you that they don't want to paint this person the color they want. Why? Because every time children paint their things, they have to showcase. See my work. They've painted, they've used the best colors, like the green,
bright colors,
the green, the orange, the yellow. You see, and they have variety of colors they use. But among the colors they use, black is not part of the color. So that one should really make you to ask a question, not to say that is the reason, but should really make you to ask a question. Why did you paint black? I thought you would use yellow. And they'll give you the reasons why. Or they can even keep quiet and not talk about it. There are children who will paint things, who will have painting that does not show brightness, and they'll never explain. They'll just keep quiet. That should tell you there's something going on within this child.
So largely black color is sort of a big red flag.
Dull colors. Dull colors. They can mix black with others. Dull colors. Then also the painting style. So they will hold the paint and they will start doing, and these are grown up who has not a grown up. This is a child who already has a grip. Grip is the ability to hold the pencil very well, or the color pencil. But now this one, the way they hold, the way they are painting, the expression of the face should tell a lot. Yes.
Allan, as you talk to these people who come to you from various stages of life, we also have the parents factor, particularly for children. I'm very curious on whether you have been in a situation where a parent comes and anachukua mtoto wake na nguvu, anasema twende nyumbani, ufai kuwa hapa. So how has the reaction been from parents? Pardon me, from parents. Are there those who are supportive? Are there those who feel like that's just a waste of time? How have the parents been like?
The parents have been receptive. I've not come across parents being aggressive or don't want me to be with her child or to teach her child about mental illness or mental health. Currently, as I said earlier, I'm volunteering with LBCT, so we are working with small children. So I've not come across such a problem, but I'm yet to experience that challenge.
Of parents.
Of parents. Because we have different people. People are different. You see.
And there's also the factor of the administrators involved, including chiefs, nyumba kumi, wazee wa nyumba kumi. How have they also played a role in the programs that you do?
The nyumba kumis, or we have what we call the CHVs. So in CHVs, the community health volunteers, which the public hospitals assign them work. So they usually pick the nyumba kumis, the parents around, and a bit some of the youth. So these are the people that actually help us to when we have an outreach or enriches about mental health. So these are the people that help us to pass the message around or create awareness in the community about mental health, and it has really helped.
Makena, have you come across parents who do not want their children going in for counseling?
I've not seen, because parents are the ones that bring children for counseling, but they bring them for counseling through the advice of the teacher, or maybe they've taken them to the hospital and they've been told, go and see a counselor. So most of them, it is referral.
Yeah.
Now they start looking for counselors. But when you see a parent is against a child seeing a counselor, it is a sign maybe this parent doesn't know the role of a counselor. Remember that this is a time that we are creating awareness.
Yeah.
We've come from far. Before, counseling used to be done. It was highly done because we used to live in a home state whereby everyone was available. The grandparents were there, the uncles were there, the aunties were there. So children grew being counseled because whatever they went through, they would go and tell the grandparents. And remember, they kept it.
Yeah.
And also the uncles would hear, the aunties were around to guide them. But now things have changed. We've evolved from that homestead setup to now a different setup. Now that is why we have a problem with mental issues today, because we no longer share as we grow up. So when parents are not able to shielding their children from going seeing counselors or from getting help, it's because they don't know the importance. That is why we are here to create awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd love to pose a question too, actually, that somebody sent yesterday. One was talking about the physical aspect of somebody, and he mentioned that, you know, if someone is physically fit, that one is mentally stable. Is that true?
It's not true.
That is not true.
Yeah.
That is not true because mental, you can't see.
Yeah.
You can only experience. You can only see the full blown issues. Like somebody is fully mentally sick.
Yeah.
That is what you can see. But others you can't see. You cannot see somebody who walks to a psychiatrist every month to take some medication. They are clean, they are neat, so you cannot really tell.
Yeah.
So physically, really, you can't judge people.
So going to the gym and working out and your mental are just two different aspects.
Those are two different aspects.
Yeah.
What are your intentions? Why are you going for the gym, for exercises? Maybe you want to keep fit, you want to have a certain body, and that is your liking. So you can't really judge by the things people do. Yes, it's very hard to judge from that. Physically, you can't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, there's one other who was talking about work problems. She's experiencing sexual advances at work from the bosses.
Yes.
She cannot report to anybody because it's the bosses.
Yes.
It affects her. So, for this kind of person, what is she to do so that, you know, she keeps her job? She says the economy is horrible, so that she keeps her job, but at the same time she's also doing okay mentally. Yeah.
So that is the toughest moment in a person's life.
Yeah.
Because you see, you need a job, you need money, especially this time. The least you want to lose is a job. Yes, but again, your character is compromised.
Yeah.
Because you really don't want to walk out of this place with a dent. We have jobs, we keep on getting jobs and losing them. So the moment you get it, you want to, by the time you walk out of it or you retire, you don't want to remember such horrible moment.
Yeah.
So there's this time that you didn't need to make it known, but you have to be nice. I always say the fact that we have bosses, they are not above our lives.
Yeah.
They are not. They can still listen and they can still hear. One of the things you need to tell them is that you need to stand openly and say, I'm not able to go this way. I'm not able to offer myself this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes they may not, you may say that and they ask you, what did I say? Sometimes they may bring or show some advances, but again, they've not said anything.
Yeah.
So if they've not told you anything, then you keep quiet because they've not told you anything.
Yeah.
It is just they are trying to throw things to you to show that they are in need of this thing. But the moment they say, you say no. How about touching? Because sexual harassment involves touching, involves winking in a way, suggestive behavior. So those are the ones that you need to step aside. Anytime it's coming to you, just make a step back and say, I'm not for that.
Yeah.
Always say, I'm not for that. And when you are saying, I'm not for this, make sure you do your work perfectly. So it has a price to pay. Do your work perfectly. Make sure that everything you do is in line with the company or with the organization.
Yeah.
You're reporting to work on time. You're doing your work on time, but you're so strong when it comes to your body that you don't want you don't want the touching and everything, just say, I'm not for this.
So to
I don't
verbally
want
speak
this.
out.
Yes,
Yeah.
you speak out, but don't create chaos in organization, telling people this one has been telling me this, or just gossips, unnecessary gossips. Just, it's you who don't want it. You don't want about, you don't know about others.
Yeah.
So always make sure that it is known that that is your no-go zone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Allan, what is the worst case scenario that you have been able to, you know, to see, or at least to experience, of someone who is mentally ill? What is that scenario that you said, you know, this is a real problem that really needs a lot of professional advice, if there's any? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much for that question. So in my area where I stay, and I was really surprised. It was on a Sunday evening, the past 2 weeks. So while I was walking outside, I saw people gathered around my area. And then I asked one of the person who was passing across, what is happening? So nikaambiwa kwamba there's a woman who threw herself from the 5th floor. Alianguka na kichwa chini. So she was rushed to the hospital.
Yeah.
And immediately nilipita hapo, niliona damu chini. You know, I was nilishtuka sana. I really say that ikitu ni serious. In fact, hapo ndo mali niliandika kwa status yangu, like mental health is serious than even HIV. Hii ni kitu imekuja ina boom up, like imechemuka. So from there nikaona there's need to create awareness, there's need to this thing iletwe kwa community. Hata kukue tuna tent hapo kwa community whereby people should go there and seek services. Ikishindikana wapatiwe referrals to the hospitals, kwa sababu kitu isaina huwa watu. And by the way, in every 30 minutes or 7 minutes yenye tumekaa hapa, someone mahali is contemplating to commit suicide. Yeah. And hiyo scenario ilinishtua sana. Ilinishtua kabisa. And it is my area, by the way.
Yeah.
So hiyo kitu ilinishtua sana, na niko na the need of mental health, hata ikuwe in schools, ikuwe in hospitals, ikuwe everywhere.
Yeah, and Makena, suicide, for now we have been looking at stories in the media of someone who, you know, jumped from floor, whatever. We've also had a situation which, you know, really shocked a lot, of a mother who, you know, stabbed the baby in Kitengela quite a number of times. So how do we cope with this to ensure that we don't get to this level? Because if it's suicide, it's that bad, you know, it's that bad. So how can we cope to ensure that we don't get to that particular level? Yeah.
Okay. Allow me to take you back to the World Health Organization. They did a research, and they said that suicide cases are between the ages of 15 to 29. That is what the research they did. And that means that the young people are taking away their lives. Not that even the other are not, they are also, but now the rate at which the young people are doing it is very high.
Yeah.
Why? Because things are really tough for them. You know very well there are no jobs, and businesses are not doing very well. Capital issues, poverty level has really grown. The gap is very high, and now we have young parents who have young youths.
Yes.
Somebody giving birth at the age of 9 or at the age of 10, it means that by the time they are 35, their children are already teenagers, or others are youths. So you can see now where the community is, whereby no one knows how to talk to the other. So I again want to tell the youths, thanking my co-host here, co-guest, sorry, thanking him for what he's doing, creating awareness. Awareness is everything. Making the youths and the teens and mothers like I and others to understand that the fact that situations are going this way, it's not the end of it all.
Yeah.
There is always something at the end of the day. So there is hope. That's what I would tell them. There is hope.
Yeah.
But as much as we want to say there is hope, you can't just hope and sit.
Hope and do something.
You have to hope and do something.
Yeah.
Do something little. for those who are in the countryside, I always tell them that you can start little things by maybe planting fruits. This country needs a lot of fruits. And what we are lacking in this country as a community is fruits. We don't have fruits.
Yes.
Like the pawpaw, the passion fruits, those things are lacking. And you can start small, few plants as you proceed, while you're waiting, because people take their lives where they are waiting for something. So they are not able to, they are not patient enough to wait for it.
Yes.
Then again, how about talking to someone? That is also, we've said that severally. But I would like also to tell the young people is that there are some things they must work on. For example, there's something we call timelines. There's time for everything. You cannot be doing things that people are doing when they are already mature. So for the young people, I always tell them to hold some things, hold some peace as you wait. Do not overindulge. Drugs will never solve our problems. Early sex will never solve a problem. Actually, it will bring you to more chaos. So I always tell them to look at what you're doing at that moment. If parents are able to pay your school fees, kindly study, especially colleges. You're building skills, and what the country needs right now are skills.
Yes.
So in school, in colleges, you're building your skills. So make sure that you finish what you start. Study, if possible.
Yes.
If it is that time to settle down, because at the end of the day people will marry and will be married, do it appropriately. Let your parents know who is marrying you. Where does he come from? Let your friends know who is marrying you. Who are you dating at that time? What is he doing? Bother to know so much about the person you are dating with. All these things can help the youths to curb the rate of suicide in this country. Awareness, but you also have to do self-work. There are a lot of things that youth must know. They can only do them for themselves.
Yeah, and especially marriages, which are perhaps most of them experiencing at least some of these problems you're saying, you know, you've married a wrong person, or you've made wrong decisions in your marriage. I mean, marriage is just a special you know, topic on its own, on just, you know, how to curb this in marriages so that we don't end up having two people killing each other and that. So just perhaps in a short way to talk to the married people on just what they need to do to curb mental illness in their marriages.
So marriage is a union of two people who are joined together through love. So, but love is not everything. It has other accompaniments. So before you even settle down, there's this moment of courtship. So during courtship, there's a lot you need to say. What do you want as Cynthia? What do you want as Allan? What do you want from what would you like your wife to bring on the table? What would you like your husband to bring on the table? Sometimes the youth look at money only, but you forget to look at character. Character is everything in marriage. We also forget to look at self-discipline and self-control, because you'll be tempted every day. You'll be tempted to be engaged in businesses that are not really friendly. For example, vetting some things that the country forbids, laws does not allow. So you must learn to have self-control, and these are the few things that we look in relationship. Then also the family background. Who raised this child? Who raised this youth that you want to settle with? How was their family? All this can be seen if you start courtship and you give courtship time. It is not a sure bet, but at least it's better. So when you settle, remember you started with communication. So you will continue with communication. This does not mean that one way or the other, this person may not hurt you. But the ability to communicate and forgive one another, it is very important. Then also, you must plan for your family. There's nothing that can work in this country without a plan. In this world, in this home, everywhere needs planning. So what are you planning? And as you're planning, are you taking, we've achieved this, this was our year's plan, we've not achieved this because we didn't manage this. So you work with a plan. And then we talk of respect. Everyone deserves respect, not just a man. Even a woman deserves respect. Those are few. Yes.
So Allan, as we wrap it up, Maybe your final words as we end the show. What more can we do? What more can Allan do? What more can friends of Allan do to ensure that we provide that listening as much as possible? You're not a professional. You're just someone who can guide someone to get to that professional service. So aside from that, what more can we do? Perhaps programs in our day-to-day lives. This is a social media era. What more can we do to ensure that we help in curbing and coping with mental health as much as possible?
Yeah, first of all, vijana naonanga wana post meme sana sisi ni watu wa .com, si ndio? So we can use that platform passing messages of hope. That is one. Two, I could urge our government and also in partnership with organizations such as Ambrevs, Red Cross, zote zikam pamoja tukuwe na what we call community dialogues on mental health. Every month, atikezekana hata basi kila siku, at least in a month, hata kama ni 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we have these dialogues. Tukuwe na dialogues za vijana, tukuwe na dialogues ya young fathers, tukuwe na dialogues ya young mothers, tukuwe na dialogues ya fathers, tukuwe na dialogues ya watu wote kwa community. Yeah, and then another thing ni tukuwe yes, using social media and community dialogues and provide an ear to friends. Like at least make sure umejulia rafiki yako hali. So at least for example use of WhatsApps and Facebooks, unaenda pale unaongea na rafiki, unamjulia hali venye amekuwa akiendelea. Yes, and all that hiyo itafanya mavijana wakuje pamoja, itafanya tumepigana na mental health, talking to friends. And then kama umemaliza shule, at least try to look for opportunities outside here. Go outside, volunteer, and endelea kusoma. Kama kuna program ina train vijana, make sure umeenda pale, umeungana na wale vijana, umesoma, and everything. Just you make use of your time as a youth, kwa community time, and make sure that you talk to people. Don't exclude yourself, don't isolate yourself, na utakuwa sawa.
Yeah, you talked about the Youth Advisory Council, perhaps, and the services you offer more than just mental health. Where can they get you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, and in each sub-county within Nairobi, tuko na 2 representatives wenye na represent the Youth Advisory Council. So in Embakasi East, Maliniko, ukinitaka, you can, tuko na Mukuru Health Center pale. They have my number, and I also have a number. You can be talking to me. I know my people back pale home wananiona. So if you feel, na pia bado tuko na numbers, that is kama 1190. When you call that number, you'll be able to be helped. Mimi mwenyewe niko physically pale as a Youth Advisory Council advocate pale mtaani, huwa natembea kuhakikisha kwamba my youth wako sawa. So it is easy for them to be accessed to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makena, as we wrap it up, where can people get these counselors and psychologists? I know they're worrying about the fee, charge, how much I'll have to pay. So where can we get these psychologists, counselors, so that they can help with professional services to cope with mental health?
Thank you.
Yeah.
We know very well most of. Oh, sorry. We know very well. Thank you. We know very well most of our health centers. They have a counselor. The government clinics, health centers, they have a counselor there, or they can refer you. We have Mathare, we have Kenyatta. There's a department that handles mental illness. But again, I can be found. I run an organization called Sparks Mentors, and I'm not alone. We have other counselors on board with us who handle different issues. I may not counsel on finances and health because I'm not a doctor, but there are doctors on board who work along with me and who are able to help people on different issues. Remember, mental health is not only caused by other issues, even sickness can bring mental issues. So I can be found. My number is 0720 587673.
You can repeat again.
Yes, 0720-587673.
Yeah.
Makena. Anytime you call me, you can get me and you can talk. I also visit groups, schools, so I can whenever people need me, I always go to them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Elestuta Makena, who is a professional counselor as well as a trainer, and Allan Sirima, who is a mental health advocate. And that is the conversation that we have been having, coping with mental health. And this is just so interesting. Some of the things that you need to look out for is when you're eating too much appetite, lack of sleep, anger, anxiety, sadness, withdrawal. Talk about your hygiene. That is changing from good to bad. So those are some of the things that you need to look out for. Elestuta has explained to you what are some of the places that you can go to get help, or you can refer someone to go there and get help, as well as the importance of sharing what you're going through with a professional, with a friend who can listen to you, or with a family that can listen to you. So that brings us to the end of our conversation this morning on mental health. Thank you so much for making the time. You have been watching Morning Live right here on EBN TV with Miss Cynthia Nanjala. Have a fantastic morning.